All right, so you've got your storyboard. You maybe have even reshuffled it after you did the building methods. Now you're saying, great, I have a list, which is what you told me we weren't creating. And all of these lists have sub-lists in them of bullet points and kind of ideas and concepts, but you haven't actually started turning it into a narrative. This is the week of bulk and believe, so it's time to start bulking each of those elements that you defined within your storyboard. And I have for you 4 bulking methods. The exciting thing is you've actually used most of these already in different lessons, and one of them is kind of intuitive. You are going to have to use it eventually anyway. So, quick review. I'm going to remind you which ones you've already learned, and those are your bulking methods, and then I'm going to show you what the 4th one is. The first one is brainstorm using a WFA outline. If you recall, WFA means writing from art. So by that, I mean that you're going to follow those same steps that you did in writing from art, except your art has already been chosen for you. It's one of the scenes. So let's say within your story, you have a setting that you have created, and that setting is a forest. Well, guess what? We're going to find the focal point. We're going to identify the important objects and elements. We're going to create a caption for that particular scene. That might become your chapter title. You're going to ask and answer questions, and then you might even create a mini jump start. But guess what? You don't even have to do that piece, because by the time you create in that scene, all of that Q&A, all of those captions, those important objects and elements, all of that stuff is going to be enough to bulk that piece of the story. So bulk method number 1, brainstorm using the WFA outline. Bulk method number 2, 6 senses and 4 S's. Once again, you've learned this. This is where you are going to take and you are going to mix different lengths of sentences to create a nice fluidity to your writing. This is where you're going to pull in all of the senses, including your TFIs. I'm sure you remember TFIs are thoughts, feelings, imaginings. That's one of our words here. So 6S, 4S, you've already learned this. Take one of those scenes that you've created. Maybe it's a moment in time, so it's not necessarily a setting. Maybe you want to apply that 6S, 4S to a magic moment. You want to apply it to a conflict. You want to talk about all of the senses that were experienced during that conflict. You decide. You can jump all over. Remember, nonlinear. Go ahead and apply the 6 senses and the 4 S's to the different scenes that you think will work for the 6S, 4S. Bulking method number 3. Character drop-ins. Once again, you've already done this. Character drop-ins, you're going to identify different places in your manuscript when maybe you can work your character into the story. Let's talk about what your character is feeling. Let's talk about how this is affecting your character. Let's talk about what things they are actually doing. And by the way, when we get into style and sequence, we're going to get into some really great doings called the 500 plus happenings, and you're going to have so much fun with that. But character drop-ins, once again, something you've already learned. And this is your 3rd bulking method. Bulking method number 4. It's the R word, research. Now, research is a very common bulking method. You probably already knew about it. This is basically where you are going to do a little digging. Do that digging online, do that digging in books, do that digging through personal interviews, do that digging in any way that you desire to do that digging. You're going to come up with some facts. Don't turn a fiction book into a nonfiction book by having a whole bunch of scientific knowledge in there. No, you want to do that digging in such a way that just like those descriptions of your characters, just like spreading out the different settings in your story, you want to spread them out. You want to scatter them throughout. So you might pick one or two things that are going to need some research. If you have a character who is maybe going through a cancer treatment, do some research. Talk about some of the different things that are out there. Talk about them in a creative way, such as having the doctor describe them to your main character. You're going to pull in that research in a way that fits. Because research is a little bit of a drier bulking method, make sure that you are using it sparingly and you're spreading it out in such a way that it's surrounded by material that is a little bit more exciting. These are your four bulking methods. There are just 4 of them. Brainstorming using a WFA outline approach, 6S, 4S, 6 senses and 4 S's, the character drop-ins, or research. Pick those things that you think most apply to the different story elements of your book and go ahead and start bulking.